Good day, folks. This is Greg Judy at Green Pastures Farm. This morning is a brisk December morning. We're about about a week from Christmas, and we're strip grazing. And today's subject is thank goodness for Kentucky 31 fescue. Because what else would you be grazing now that's green? It got down to about 25 last night. Has been doing that every night now for about 2 or 3 weeks. Good hard frost every morning. And so this is the strip that they were on yesterday. And so we just give them one mediocre bale right behind them, just for dry matter. And we kind of spread it out so everybody can get a bite with this bale unroller. The Greg Judy bale unroller that we sell at our farm. And we've actually got a deal now where we're shipping these things. Got a fellow that's shipping them, hauling them for us pretty much all over the United States. They are very handy when you can take a 700-pound ATV and feed 375 head. And we've been getting rain, so it's muddy out here. You sure wouldn't want to bring a tractor out here. I guess you could. Neighbors, a lot of people doing that. And chewing their farm up, compressing the soil. And so, you got to look at your earthworms and all the soil microbes. You don't want to be doing that. If you compress your soil, you're not going to grow grass there. But this is a beautiful sight to me. I mean, this particular paddock is about 10 acres, and we normally would have got about 2 moves out of it. Give them half in the morning, half at night. We split this in. We've got 3 days. We've got 3 days out of this instead of 1 day. And I'm telling you, I think the cattle are doing well. I don't think. Look at the condition on these cows. We're not losing weight. They're keeping their weight on. The animals just look really good. But, you can feed some pretty mediocre hay as long as you have really good stockpile. And the sheep are going to be moved in here this morning, right behind where we just moved the cows. So the sheep are going to be following the cows. About 160 ewes, and the guard dogs will be following right behind them. And so we're going to do that just as soon as we get done with this particular move right here. I wanted to show you what they're eating. Look, I'll show you a close-up of it. When I say Kentucky 31, look at that. There's green blades of clover down in there. That's red clover. There is some white clover in here. Quite a bit of red. Even though that clover's been frosted, it is still super high quality feed. Look at this. There's an individual plant. Golly, it's just endless. Folks, this is what we used to call the brush ridge. It was so brushy you couldn't walk up it. And we've had to rename it. It's not the brush ridge anymore. This is forage ridge. Good forage. We left some trees in here. We left some walnuts, took out the cedars, made some brush piles there for the bunnies. Bird habitat. There's tons and tons of birds make nests in there. I'm not burning those. We're going to leave those. There's one in every draw. Sometimes maybe 2 or 3, depending on how big the draw is. Man, I'm telling you, these cows are just really going after the stockpile. They're all lined up this morning, waiting at the wire, and Ben and Isaac just rolled the wire up and they moved. So we didn't have to start a tractor up. Just rolled the reel up. When you can feed 375 head by just rolling a wire back and letting them do all the work, and the manuring and pooping and peeing and spreading the seed by trampling, and it's just all a good thing, folks. It all starts building on top of each other. It's like dominoes. And a few years from now, you look around like, my gosh, this is really working well. So starting out, you're going to have some hiccups. You're going to make some mistakes. Nothing wrong with mistakes. That's what builds character. It builds calluses, and it builds confidence. You know, I was born and raised on a farm, a dairy farm up in northern Minnesota, and I didn't know what grass was. My dad was a crop farmer. He thought the land needed to be plowed every single year. And if you weren't plowing dirt, you weren't a farmer. Well, I think there's a really high potential to make a good living on land without ever plowing anything. And now I know I'm going to hear what people say, well, what are you going to do about your corn flakes, and, you know, I want some vegetables with my meat. That's fine. You know, I'm not saying you completely do it with your vegetables. I'm just saying there's a lot of people out there doing crops without doing any tillage. And I love Gabe Brown's quote. His is, somebody asked him what he thought excessive tillage was. And Gabe's a big cover crop guy in North Dakota. And Gabe's remark was, the marker on my planter. In other words, that disc blade after that marks where he makes his next throw at in his field. It's actually turning up a little bit of dirt on the very end there, because he's using a drill. He does no tillage. He called that excessive tillage. Just kicking up a spot where he can see where to put his next windrow at on his planter or his drill. You know, I thought that was unique. But people are still plowing. I came by the other day, and there was a guy had it looked like a 6 or an 8 bottom plow, and he was ripping soil open in the fall, and then he's putting anhydrous in it. I don't get that. I mean, not only has he lost all his organic matter by ripping it open, but then he nuked whatever little life was left in the soil by putting anhydrous ammonia on it. So I think this is a lot more sustainable. We've got the ground covered. The ruminant animals are building our future for us, and it can be your future as well. Don't let anybody tell you you can't do this. They can tell you, but just use that as an incentive to do it. That's what I did. I had people tell me I was nuts. And my favorite quote was a guy that said, well, you know what, Greg, you don't own any land. This is when I was going through my divorce. He said, you don't own any land, you don't have any money. And he said, you don't even own a tractor. He said, how in the world do you expect to make a living in the beef cattle industry? And I went home and I started leasing land and running and grazing other people's cattle. And that was in 1997. And today, you know, we're in the beef cattle business. And a lot of people that ridicule me are not. They've got jobs in town. So I tell you what, there's nothing wrong with having a job in town. I had one for 30 years, and I'm glad I had it. It got me to the point that I am today. So for those of you out there that are just starting out, you don't have any equity, go lease some land, find some cows, graze them, and get you an outsourced income. I'll farm outsourcing income just to kind of help you out till you get started. And then when you generate enough income on your farm, if that's what you want to do for a full-time living, go for it. But this is where the money's made, folks. It's in the grass, and it's in animals that can feed themselves. Get your frame size right. Don't be chasing those 1,400, 1,600 pound cows. Got to get them down to that 1,000, 1,100 pound range, and they don't tear your farm up. It's soft out here, and I can show you the foot tracks of this young bull. He's probably 700, 800. See that? And he's down in the low area. He's not leaving any imprints in the land. I mean, you can see where he stood. He crushed the, see that? Right there. He crushed the ground down, the forage, but he's not leaving a hole. When we were grazing, 1,600, 1,800 pound cows, You didn't need to be a professional tracker to see where they walked. Just follow the holes in your pasture. And that's why everybody locks them up today. They don't let them do this because, oh, you can't run cows out in the wintertime. They'll destroy your pastures. Well, what do you mean they'll destroy your pastures? Yeah, they will, those big ones. So that's another advantage of having the smaller 1,000, 1,100 pound cows. You can graze all winter long. Out on your pastures, putting the poop and the pee out on the land, and they're working for you. You're not working for them. So folks, get your goals set, write them down, and your goal should be to be 100% grass covered. If you've got a farm and you've got half of it in crop and you're trying to graze the other half and everything's not working right, it's because you don't have enough recovery. You don't have enough grass or you're overstocked. And a lot of people think, well, you know, one cow per acre, I want to do better than that. You're probably overstocked. I'm not saying you can't get to 1 cow per acre, but starting out, you might need to start out at 2 or 3, maybe 4. Work your way up. Don't start out overgrazing your whole farm and expect it to work. It's just not going to. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. It's a beautiful morning. We're going to go move the sheep. And everyone have a great weekend and hit that subscribe button on the way out. Thank you.